What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including fan backlash at the Royal Rumble, Triple H gets heavy crowd backlash. Did you notice this change to Rey Mysterio at the Royal Rumble? Is this the masked man? Why AVA left WWE? A female wrestler named in the Epstein files, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at fan backlash at the Rumble. Roman Reigns outlasted 29 superstars to win the Men's Royal Rumble, as the victory has sparked divided opinions across the WWE fanbase. Shortly after the event in Riyadh, WWE uploaded a video to its official YouTube channel showing Reigns celebrating his win inside Riyadh Season Stadium. While the clip has got tons of views, surpassing over 300,000, the dislike ratio tells another story. Currently on the video, it has 15,000 likes and 13,000 dislikes, signaling that a noticeable portion of the viewers weren't fully on board with the Tribal Chief standing tall once again. Of course, part of the reaction stems from Reigns' WrestleMania history. As of April 2025, he has headlined the event 10 times, including 6 consecutive main events from 2020 through to 2025, a record-setting run that has cemented him as one of the most protected and prominently featured stars in company history. For some fans, another Rumble win feels like a less fresh direction and more like a continuation of a formula that they've already seen before. As we noted yesterday in our review, this was probably WWE's safest bet ever. They knew that they'd get a nice little pop from the Saudi crowd, and they have pretty simple plans for WrestleMania. But the problem fueling the backlash is Reigns' limited in-ring schedule. While WWE positions him as this top attraction, fans have increasingly voiced frustration that rising names like Bron Breakker, Jacob Fatu, or even Gunther were not given the Rumble victory instead. And it really showed in their booking last night, as LA Knight only lasted a handful of minutes, and Jacob Fatu, well, he was an afterthought in the Rumble. He should have been one of the strongest there, and oh god, don't get us started with Bron Breakker. Having him in the Rumble for literally seconds was an absolute disservice to the man. With WrestleMania season being the prime opportunity to elevate a new face, many fans believe that this was the year to pivot. What's intensified the conversation more is Roman's own recent comments explaining why WWE continues to view him as the company's biggest star despite his reduced schedule and the presence of emerging talent being ready for the spotlight. Reigns addressed the topic during a recent episode of the Pat McAfee show ahead of the Rumble, and when asked whether his return felt like a kiss the ring moment, Reigns leaned into the idea that his absence actually creates opportunities for others and suggested that those opportunities haven't been fully capitalized on. I'm a generous tribal chief. I give the people plenty of time. These young talent, they say we hog all the TV time. They complain about one thing and I leave an opening and give them plenty of space to create whatever type of superstardom they want. Get over, kids, get over. We're 2 years here now. We haven't advanced. We haven't evolved. We have great leadership. Nick Khan, God bless him. What a businessman. He's a genius. But we have to keep up creatively. And that's why people like me. People who are striving to be the greatest, the GOATs, the MJs. I just can't sit around and see mediocrity. Not when I set it up for everybody to just slam it home. I mean, we're on Netflix for crying out loud. You gotta capitalize. We have people playing around and trying to figure it out. And I got the formula. I know how to cook it up. But those remarks only added fuel to the debate. Many feel that Reigns remains WWE's biggest mainstream attraction and a proven draw whenever he appears. Critics counter, though, that the Rumble was a missed opportunity to accelerate the rise of the next generation. With the road to WrestleMania officially underway, the real question is now whether fans will ultimately rally behind Reigns once again, or if WWE is heading towards another scenario where corporate direction and crowd sentiment don't fully align. Was Reigns the right winner for the Rumble? Next up, WWE Backlash 2026 officially announced. Over WrestleMania 42 set to conclude on April 19th, following the 2 nights of championship changes and headline moments, the company is already positioning its next creative reset. Hours before the Royal Rumble, WWE Chief Content Officer Triple H took to social media to make the announcement himself, and he confirmed that Backlash will take place on Saturday, May 9th at the Benchmark International Arena in Tampa, Florida. He's framed it as the first major event after WrestleMania, and he emphasized while the road to WrestleMania begins at the Royal Rumble, the fallout truly begins at Backlash. Now, for many fans, this was actually kind of a disappointment, as many believed that Backlash would be in Puerto Rico, a potential return to the location that delivered one of the company's most electric crowds in 2023. While international schedules reportedly listed San Juan as a possibility, WWE's now made its direction official and removed any doubt on where the event will take place. What's funny is that they used to carry the name WrestleMania Backlash in 2021 and 2022 before reverting to its traditional branding. But now with Tampa confirmed, attention shifts to what the card could look like and how WrestleMania's outcomes will shape the post-Mania landscape. Next up, Triple H gets heavy crowd backlash. The 2026 Royal Rumble may have delivered major moments inside the ring, but one of the most talked about reactions of the night came after the action had already ended. Closing out the Rumble post-show in Riyadh was WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque, who appeared on stage to reflect on the premium live event and officially kicked off the road to WrestleMania. However, the atmosphere in the arena shifted. Fans and attendants began directing chants towards the stage, and they weren't about the matches. "We want Vince" echoed throughout the venue, followed by Y2J chants, along with scatters of AEW, Baldy, and even "You effed up." The chants came in waves, briefly diverting attention from the post-show discussion. As usual, Triple H didn't acknowledge any of the chants, and he remained focused on the night's significance and what lies ahead following the Rumble. This man really hasn't learned from the last time they did a post-show, where he got heckled about John Cena retiring. We're just glad that this time he didn't confuse any fingers for the bloodline finger. Next up, Triple H breaks silence on AJ Styles. But the chants directed at Triple H weren't the only noteworthy development from the Royal Rumble post-show. A significant update regarding AJ Styles' future was also addressed. Speaking on the post-show panel, Triple H was asked directly whether WWE had discussed keeping Styles in the company in a different capacity following his emotional loss to Gunther. "We've had lots of conversations, especially once this all came down. Obviously, we expected it later in the year, but we talked about it quite a bit. AJ is absolutely one of those people who wants to give back and be a part of this business." Triple H clarified that he did not want to speak entirely on Styles' behalf, but indicated that Styles made it clear that his in-ring chapter is actually finished. Well, at least for now. He made it clear that he was just done with the in-ring part. That's a point in your career where you reach a place and you say, "I don't want to do this anymore. It's time." And that doesn't necessarily mean that WWE's relationship with Styles is ending. Triple H did point towards a potential path similar to Shawn Michaels' transition after retirement, moving to mentoring, coaching, or even producing. I'm hoping he will contribute, because he's one of the greatest minds in the business. When you see what Shawn Michaels is doing in NXT, and I think that's a path and career for AJ Styles beyond this period he's in. The Styles would pass out in a sleeper hold, forcing the referee to stop the contest. The Riyadh crowd responded with loud "Thank you AJ" chants as Styles teased leaving his gloves in the ring before ultimately walking out with them. But despite the emotional ending, speculation surrounding his future has not slowed down. Recent trademark filings for his ring name and logo fueled theories that Styles could explore opportunities outside of WWE. However, Triple H's comments probably suggest that he hopes that his next chapter will still unfold within WWE, but just in a different role. Next up, Finn Balor's post-Rumble meltdown. On the 26th January episode of Raw, CM Punk crossed paths with Finn Balor backstage and offered him direct advice: leave the Judgment Day, win the Royal Rumble, and come after his championship. Balor appeared motivated by the challenge and later approached Raw General Manager Adam Pearce about entering the men's Rumble match, but Pearce told him that it was already full. I guess they really had to get La Parka in there instead. And this explanation quickly came under scrutiny, as just days later, Brock Lesnar declared himself for the Rumble during the appearance on the Pat McAfee show. Then, on the 30th January edition of SmackDown, Damian Priest, a former member of the Judgment Day, was officially added to the match and even drew his entry number on screen. The sequence of events made Pearce's earlier statement look questionable at best. But after the Royal Rumble concluded, Balor took to X to openly vent his frustration. He began by writing, "I'm starting to realize I don't get enough respect around here." He followed it up with a photo of Adam Pearce, adding "primarily from this man." And then he posted, "But things aren't always straightforward. I'll find a way." Adam Pearce responded publicly writing, "We've known each other way too long and you're way too good to be another goof cutting promos on Twitter. I'm not angry. I'm not disappointed." The exchange immediately sparked speculation about where this angle could be heading, whether this is laying the groundwork for a Balor vs Priest confrontation or just simply advancing Balor's ongoing frustration arc in the company. What is clear is that Balor's perceived snub is now part of a storyline conversation as WrestleMania season begins. Could Balor though have a chance in the Elimination Chamber match, possibly winning it there and then going on to WrestleMania? Next up, did you notice this change to Rey Mysterio at the Royal Rumble? During the men's Royal Rumble match, Mysterio entered without the signature cross design that typically appears on his mask. In addition, the Christian-themed tattoos across his chest were covered by his in-ring gear. This adjustment wasn't a last-minute decision inside the arena, as prior to the event, fans had already noticed that WWE promotional materials, including the Royal Rumble poster and the SmackDown graphic, had digitally removed the cross from Mysterio's mask. The change was reportedly made out of respect for local culture. Saudi Arabia follows Islamic traditions, and public displays of non-Islamic religious symbols are handled carefully through major events and broadcasts. This isn't the first time WWE's adjusted presentation elements, particularly ring gear and broadcast visuals during the events in Saudi Arabia to align with local cultural guidelines. Yeah, that means having the women come out dressed as Power Rangers. But with that being said, while the cross on the mask was edited out in official graphics and covered during the live event, some viewers pointed out that earlier promotional materials did not digitally remove the cross tattoo on Mysterio's chest, creating what appeared to be an inconsistency in presentation. Next up, why AVA left? Now, Ava, real name Simone Johnson, the daughter of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, has officially left WWE after deciding not to renew her contract. This has now ended her 6-year run with the company, including training at the PC, a stint in the Shizen faction, and a role as NXT GM. However, there's new details shared on the Wrestling Observer Radio that suggest her exit wasn't due to a firing or creative decision, but entirely her own decision. Dave Meltzer said multiple people indicated Ava simply didn't want to continue wrestling anymore and that there was no compelling reason beyond a personal decision to step away from the business. Unusually, WWE didn't reference her impending departure on NXT before it happened, despite her being involved in the ongoing storyline. Meltzer emphasized that WWE had no plans to cut her and that her exit was voluntary. Next up, is this the Masked Man? Yesterday we did touch upon who could be the Masked Man who appeared at the Royal Rumble to take out Bron Breakker before his Royal Rumble entry. Whilst we did discuss the notion that it could be Finn Balor under the mask, there seems to be some new evidence that suggests it wasn't Finn Balor, but Logan Paul. If you look at these pictures side by side, you can definitely tell that it was Logan Paul, and the man was wearing a bracelet. So was the real mastermind behind this whole attack Logan Paul? And finally, a female wrestler named in the Epstein files. A late WWE star Ashley Massaro has been referenced in the newly unsealed court documents connected to the long-running investigation into Jeffrey Epstein. The records have renewed public scrutiny surrounding the scope of the individuals mentioned in the case. The documents form part of a broader batch of previously sealed materials that reference allegations tied to Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate, who was sentenced in 2021. Now, Massaro, who passed away in 2019, is mentioned in relation to statements included in a complaint outlining alleged misconduct connected to Epstein's operations. Within the redacted filing, the claimant remains anonymous. However, the document references statements suggesting that Massaro may have had prior conduct with the individuals connected to Maxwell. The filings contain disturbing descriptions of alleged abuse connected to Epstein's private island, though much of the text remains partially redacted. In one section, the complainant references a claim that Massaro became pregnant while still in high school. The mention of Massaro has drawn attention given her public profile and the tragic circumstances regarding her passing. Her name's inclusion also intersects with the previous allegations involving a 2006 trip to Kuwait with WWE. Massaro had alleged that she was drugged and sexually assaulted whilst receiving medical treatment from a US military doctor during that excursion. The WWE did deny prior knowledge of the claims for years before her death in 2019. Following her passing, the NCIS opened a retrospective review of the allegations. No charges were filed, largely due to the passing at the time and the absence of material evidence. The newly unsealed documents do not establish any criminal findings regarding Massaro, but have now added renewed attention to her name in connection with a case that continues to generate public scrutiny. But there you have it, folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.